welcome. I've said this before about Cooper Mays. I'll say it again. If he wants to be my co-host whenever he's done with the NFL, he can do that. So, Coop, I'm going to teach you one quick thing. This is called a tease. So at the end of this video, don't fast forward. Cooper Mays is going to tell us where he went to vacation. How about that as a tease? Pretty good, huh, Coop?
It's like what do they call it? Foreshadowing.
It is a little bit of foreshadowing. Thank you. Now,
Yeah.
that would be more along the lines of Cooper's vacation destination coming up.
Maybe,
All right.
maybe
You,
not.
you look refreshed, though, but I got more sun than you. What's going on there? It's the Vol Report brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning with Cooper Mays. City Heat and Air Integrity Matters. 50 years in business. How did I get more sun than you, Coop?
I think it's just I got burnt more than tan. That's probably what it was. I've got a decent bit. I've got less on my face than probably I was wearing a bucket hat, so it didn't really. But
Smart. That's
yeah,
actually smart. Yeah,
it'll pay dividends down the road. So
I laid on my back the whole time, so I'm front tanned. So I didn't flip like I should have flipped. Speaking of flipping, there are a lot of coaches that are going back and forth between an 8 or 9 game schedule at SEC spring meetings in Destin, Florida. They're flipping in the sun. And I'm curious what you think about this. We've talked about permanent opponents and that sort of thing. And also, Tennessee has released a couple of kickoff times we want to get to. But let me start with this. As far as being a guy who was raised around Tennessee football, what's the one game at your age specifically? Because I think everybody's different in age that you can't imagine not being on the schedule. The one opponent that you just can't look at a Tennessee schedule and think that they're not on it. Is there one opponent that stands out more than the others?
probably if we're talking about like genuinely from childhood, like who I think about, I think about Florida and Bama. That's my two. Obviously Georgia's become like a big part of that as of recently, but like growing up as a child, all I thought about really during the football season was those two games. So I don't know. I mean, I guess you would have won, but we'll
No,
take
I can take two. I can actually take a third because I think they're going to go with the 3 permanent opponent route is what I think they'll end up doing. It looks like now it'll be South Carolina, it'll be Vanderbilt, and it'll be Alabama. For the sake of the program, you're going to be way gone. But what do you think of those 3 as being permanent opponents?
Um, I don't know. I think Florida should be in there. I don't know. I always think, it probably doesn't always bode well for your season per se to play the trio of Bama, Florida, and Georgia. Like it probably, like we play a gauntlet of a season. Like it's no secret. We play probably one of the harder schedules in the country, like year in, year out. But I couldn't really imagine a season without playing Florida, Georgia, or Bama. So I don't know. I mean, it probably will end up being helpful in the long run, but I don't know if that will be the best thing to do.
Yeah, I think we're in this weird stage where, in particular, like your class that's moving on to the NFL or moving on just to whatever your teammates might do. Some of those that don't have NFL aspirations, it feels like college football is really, really about to change. One of the other things that's out there is, eventually you talk about a tough schedule, it's going to be even more stacked. You're going to be replacing the Austin Peays of the world with the Texases of the world. How does that strike you?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Just really weird to me how fast like everything's changed. Kind of, I mean, it seems like everything kind of in life is seems like everything. You're all good, man. Seems like everything in life really recently in these last few days, or not days, sorry, years has changed a lot, kind of just in general in our country and everything. But I don't know. It's pretty crazy to see that stuff. Like I thought about like when I came into college, like when I was going through the season, like as a high schooler and as a senior, in senior in high school, going into college. I mean, if you would have told me that like the stuff happened, like just the monumental events that happened throughout my college career that I would be kind of seeing and witnessing is crazy. Because like when I committed, or when I kind of was a part of, like, as my last senior year in high school, and then I was a recruit to here, I was, witnessing us going like 8-1 or something to finish out the season my senior year. And then I got here, and then everything was kind of going smooth, and then COVID hit, boom. And then
Right.
Pruitt got fired a couple years later, or a year later. Heupel's come in here. We went 10-2. I mean, there's just a lot of different stuff that has happened that's been just monumental changes. And that's probably one of the crazier ones.
No, you're right. And another monumental change is when this playoff kicks in, which is going to be again after you're gone. But I love your perspective on this. Is a 9-3 season could get you in the playoff. I mean, when you're in high school and you're thinking about going to Tennessee, you're thinking may need an undefeated season to win a championship, at the most one loss. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's how it was last year. I mean, if we realistically, if we would have had one loss last year to Georgia, we probably would have been on the playoff. So it's pretty wild.
no, I totally agree. Go ahead, sir.
But like with 9-3, with the schedule that is proposed and we're talking about right now, 9-3 is a crazy, crazy good season. Because I mean, you're playing the best teams in college football weekend. That's kind of how it was. If you guys remember how COVID was when we played an all SEC schedule during COVID, that was now obviously the results we had still aren't acceptable with the point I'm about to make, but that was a crazy schedule to play all SEC teams, and then kind of that's how we're gonna kind of end up going anyway because SEC is so big now. I mean, your weeks that most of the weeks that you're recovering, kind of like those teams that you're talking about, like that aren't the Alabamas and Georgias of the world, that those teams that kind of you can maybe get a half off against, and those are no more.
Well, as a guy too that you've had to overcome being a little bit undersized, you've had injuries. I mean, how difficult does that make it when you don't have at least one, two, three, four halves of football throughout the season that you can kind of tap out because it's 50-3?
Yeah, I mean, it's very helpful. I mean, just really, I mean, just college football is hard to stay healthy in general. I mean, let's be real. The body was probably not meant to be doing this from the creator, but you know, it's a struggle. It is. I can't sit here and say it's not. There's a lot of stuff that hurts, and you're by the end of the season, you're at that point where you're like, dang, I don't know how much more I could have kept going. But it's definitely gonna be hard for. Is this after I'm gone? This is
Yeah,
how.
this is after you're gone. That's right. Yeah, this is the 12. Everything's changing when Cooper walks off campus, basically, is what we've determined, I think.
Nice. All right. Well, yeah, that's gonna suck for them. That's gonna really suck.
Yeah, I mean, if
This is good news. I thought this was bad news. This is actually good news.
yeah, this is good news for you. And it's not going to change immediately, but you know what's going to happen? Those non-conference games, if you can still get in a playoff at 9-3, let's just say, and I'm Danny White, am I going to schedule a lesser opponent, or am I going to schedule an opponent that gets me more pub that's a better opponent?
He gets paid a lot of money probably to do that. I don't know what he gets paid, but he probably gets paid a good amount of money to make those decisions, and I don't. So
That's right.
we're gonna leave that up to him. I don't really know. That's a really good question. I'll probably ask him whenever I see him next.
Gotcha. Let me know what he says.
Yeah, I got you.
The Vol Report with Cooper Mays is brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. Integrity matters. Over 50 years in service in East Tennessee. And I'll remind you of this, the temperatures start to go up, that HVAC unit could crash. Well, with City, you know that they will tell you if you just need a part, need some coolant, may not need a whole nother unit. That's City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. Speaking of Florida, you mentioned them as one of the teams you couldn't imagine Tennessee not playing. I'm in the same mode of that, but we do have a couple of kickoff times that came down the pike. Virginia will be noon. We don't have one for Austin P because that'll be SEC Network, we would think. Then we have a 7:00 kickoff for Florida. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the day games early? Early. Why?
I mean, probably if I was a fan, no, I probably wouldn't enjoy the early games. But like for a player, like there's nothing better than going out and playing a game and getting it done and over with. To a certain degree. Not that you don't enjoy it, but just like I don't know. There's something that's so not fun about sitting and waiting around all day and just like twiddling your thumbs and waiting till nighttime to do what you want to do. So I like waking up and getting after it personally. So I mean, I think even last year we had our one of our better games, probably one of our best games.
LSU.
Yeah, LSU, man. We played down there at what was it, 12 Eastern?
It was yeah, it was, yeah, 12 Eastern, 11 Central. You're right.
12 Eastern, 11 Central. Same kind of deal we're gonna have against Virginia this year. But I mean, we practice early in the morning. Like that's how we practice. So when when we wake up, we're ready to go. So I don't know if all teams do that. There's a lot of teams that don't, but I feel like that's a competitive advantage for us because we're ready to go. We're ready to play in the morning anyway.
No, I agree. Does it make the time during the day more manageable when you're at home as opposed to on the road? Is there a difference there?
I mean,
If you play a night game, sorry.
talking about like after the game or like you talking about the game leading up to the game?
Leading up to the game.
Oh no. I mean, you're just stuck in a hotel room just waiting all day basically. So
So if you're going to play a night game, you would rather be at a home game, right?
yeah, just for the simple fact of the flight home taking time rather than just driving back to your apartment from Neyland. But as far as like leading up to it, no, you're just stuck in a hotel room till like 5 p.m. And then, I mean, just I don't know.
No, I mean that makes sense.
Think about one of the 10 biggest days of your year, and you got to sit around in a hotel room locked in it basically till 5 p.m.
Yeah, it sounds horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just anxiety inducing. Like, what are we doing here?
What are we
And
doing?
then even if when you're on the road too, and you get done at if you get done, what did we get done? We probably got done at like 3 o'clock Eastern, versus LSU. It was probably a pretty quick game. Dude, we flew back. I mean, we're back for dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a decent dinner too. I'm not talking about like an 8 o'clock dinner. I'm talking about like you're back for your 6:30 dinner.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
And if you have a good game, you got all night to enjoy festivities,
That's true.
which I don't do personally. So
Right. I know. So what's the earliest you would play a football game if it were on Cooper Mays' schedule?
probably that the 12 Eastern, but being in 11 a.m. Central, that's I like that personally.
Okay. So you wouldn't play at like 8 in the morning or anything.
No, I'm not that like you know how reasonable I am, man. I mean, I'm not crazy like that, but I can sleep in a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was just curious. So you get into June now, and the first thing you said when we were about to start recording is you kind of feel like you're in your zone, so to speak. What is it about this time of the year that makes you feel like you're maybe more locked in than people would think with football season still, what, 3 full months away?
Yeah, me personally, it's just because there's not a lot of school going on. Like summer school is not hard, like compared to a whole class schedule. You're not practicing. So really, truly, the off season is like when you think about like I'm getting better. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I don't know. There's just something nice about you have no anxieties, no. You're basically carefree, and the only anxiety that you have in your life is like you putting yourself into the best shape possible. So, I mean, if the only worry in your life is going over there and working out for a couple hours a day, I mean,
Yeah.
count me in, man.
There's probably a lot of people around my age that would definitely trade that, being able just to focus on yourself. So, I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome. So, I think we teased it to this point. Where did you go on vacation?
Yeah, I went down to Port St. Joe, Florida, like an hour south of PCB. Not the same vibe as PCB, but directionally it makes sense to mention it. So
Yes, right.
big family friendly environment.
Yeah, fewer jorts and mullets in that area.
Probably none. I don't think I saw any, which is I don't know if that's a good or bad sign, but
So when you're out and about, when you're out and about, do you get after the season you guys had? Do you get more recognized, or when you say, "Oh, I'll play football for Tennessee," do people act a little bit different than they did a year ago?
I mean, I don't I don't personally I don't tell people that, but
Well, I mean, come on, you're like 300 pounds. And you're with Cade for goodness sake. I
yeah,
mean, it's
I'm
kind of
with him. No, I wasn't with him. See, there was a couple people that that noticed me all the way down to Florida, which is crazy to me. It's crazy to my family. My mom like freaks out about it that people still know, like figure out who we are, me and Kay. And I'm like, Mom, not me. I'm not gonna talk about me, but like mom, my brother, like he's an NFL football player. You know what I'm saying? Like it's probably it makes sense. But I don't wear me personally, I don't wear like Tennessee gear and stuff out in public.
Well,
Unless
no, I don't wear my off the hook stuff either.
right. Well, like I don't wear any of my Tennessee stuff. And plus, like I'm pretty like I'm bigger, but I'm not like, oh, that guy plays lineman in the SEC big. You know what I'm saying? Like I am measurably, like I'm 6'2.5", like 305 pounds, but like I don't look like I am, if that makes sense. Like if you looked at me, you would probably think I'm like 250. So
Gotcha. Okay, I could see that. So, how often was Cade recognized then?
oh no, everybody would know who Cade was. Like no doubt about it. Me, yeah. Cade, but Cade's also like 6'5", 330. So and he was like a 5-star and all that other jazz. So
Okay, so it doesn't bother you that he was more recognizable than you?
oh, I personally like it makes me a little bit uncomfortable talking to people like that I don't know like that.
I've gotten to know you well enough where you could sit there and have no issue whatsoever if nobody recognized Cooper Mace.
I probably would enjoy it.
You
But
would.
I can
Well,
talk to anybody. Like if you end up talking to me, I can talk to anybody. Like it's not like I'm uncomfortable to talk. But like I don't know. It's
no,
just I'm kind of to myself
I
most of the time.
understand the feeling. I understand the feeling. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure and do that. Click the like button as well. We visit with Cooper each and every week, and it's brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com, 50 years in service. Integrity matters. Cityheatandair.com. The Vol Report with Cooper Mays, a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.